got in the car business before real estate, ran 4 dealerships, 60 employees, 25 salespeople, did that for about 6 or 7 years. And that's where I really learned the art of selling, or the art of being not convincing, but selling is just unpacking exactly what the person needs.
This is the Agent Goldmine, where you'll find real talk, shit talk, and ambition. We're here to build real businesses and be more than your average agent. We want to know what the killers are actually doing within their businesses, the reality of it, all tactical, no fluff. So we're here to find out. Please share and enjoy.
Oh my gosh, Matt Chick. We are so excited to have you on the show today. Listeners, if you are looking for information on multi-dimensional listing appointments, this is the episode for you, and also probably lots of talk and just lots of just badass information. So Matt, welcome.
Matt Chick, you are in the state of Arizona, but your market isn't just Arizona. You're also in North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta, Texas, well, Georgia. That's the one city in there. So you do wholesaling, you flip, and you do typical agent. So I want to get into that. You have been an agent since, or have you been an agent since 2017, or investing since 2017?
I've been an agent since 2017. I started investing when I was about 22, so about 20 years ago.
You've done 1,000 units, which is crazy. And just in the past year, you've done 185. So you're a team leader, and your team consists of 9 now, but as many as 45. So I want to talk about that too, because I love talking about like team. And the thing that you have most on lock is when you talk to sellers, you have sellers make a decision on what is best for them. And the way that you do that, you talk to agents, and it pretty much like you teach agents on how to take a listing appointment and make it work multiple ways. Like Shelby said, multidimensional. So that's going to be, I'm thinking like the deep dive of our podcast today. And I can continue going into this. Matt, what have I left off that you want to share?
It's spot on. It's spot on. You know, we started a team. I got in real estate 2017. The solo agent, did about 40 units, both like retail real estate, wholesale real estate. And then I started a team my next year. That team has grown and evolved and grown and evolved. And it actually just shifted. I just split with my last business partner that we ran Impact Real Estate together. I'm no longer Impact. We're Active Real Estate. We have 9 agents. We've been as high as 45, 47 agents with full staff and the whole 9 yards. And we've taken a step back from that, and it's been awesome. And we're still growing. I don't think we'll do 200 units this year. You know, last year we did about 185. I think we'll probably be about 100, 140 retail units this year. But my goal is for every agent on my team to make 6 figures. You know, with a 45-person team, we couldn't impact their world enough for what I wanted. So I want to make sure that the people that are in relationship with me that actually make money, why they got in this business, and are successful. You guys are buffering super hard.
It's Riverside.
You know, that happens. Don't worry about it, because what it's doing is it records locally. So like we look crazy to you, but on our local,
crazy to you?
I mean, always.
That was even before we started.
This is good.
Keep that in the show.
I absolutely love both of you right now.
Yeah, no, totally. Okay, well, there are a million different directions where I want to go, but like, okay, can you start us out with, I know that the golden nugget that you're uploading to the agentgoldmine.com is for wholesale scripts. So I'm guessing, can you take us through like how you get your deals? And then we'll go into like how you get your leads. And once you get them, then we can talk about the appointment.
What do you want? Well, just tell me the framework you want me to go down. Like, do you want this to be more retail focused? I can switch gears and talk about retail and getting into it. And I don't even know what you're talking about. The golden nugget. What did she put on there? That I'm going to give you a wholesale script?
Wholesale scripts, yeah.
That doesn't help you at all for what you. We'll figure something else out.
This is where I want to go. I want to, by the end of this episode, listeners to be able to go to a listing appointment and do the 4 square method.
Okay.
Like you taught me about. Like that shit's cool. Let's do that.
Easy. Okay. Easy. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So, okay, perfect. If I can start asking questions, let's rock.
Okay. So no, I do want to know first, like, I know we're going to get to the 4 square method, but like, where are the leads coming from? What are you guys doing for marketing?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. So it's all of our retail business is what I call guerrilla warfare. That's not true either. So it's guerrilla warfare with PPC. So PPC has been my number one lead source forever. But I'm going to take a step back because I want to talk like if I was a brand new agent and someone was to sit down with me on my team, we talk about 5 lead gen levers. And the 5 lead gen levers are so flippin' important because I believe when you first get in this business, or if you're an agent that maybe not where you want to go, it's typically because you don't know how to spend your time. And the 5 lead gen levers really fixes that problem, right? 2 are non-negotiable: social media, sphere of influence. You got to play in those spaces. If you're not playing in those spaces, I really feel like you're missing the boat. So you got to be there. And you have to have a process in which to work those things. The other three you get to pick, whether it be, for sale by owners, calling, door knocking, open houses. You can pick whatever those are. And here's the thing is like, this is the craziest part about for agents for me is that it all works. Every one of them work if you have enough time on task. And I feel like we miss that so much as an agent population is, oh, I've never been in a sales job. I've never had to communicate or be highly or communicate at a high level to get someone to do something. And I'm going to cold call and I want it to work the first week. It doesn't happen. So it's understanding that you have to have a skill set in the task that you've determined that's how you're going to prospect and go from there. So I make everybody pick 5 lead gen levers. 2 are non-negotiable: social media, sphere of influence. You have to work those. And then the other portion of our business comes from PPC leads, online leads, Z buyer, all seller or buyer leads. I have a ton of friends in the industry that are doing extremely well with PPC buyer leads right now, Facebook leads, but they're hard. They convert at 2 to 3%. And most
Yeah.
people don't have the wherewithal, the skill set to convert leads at 2 to 3% and have 100 things.
In the front, I have a question. So you're,
Yeah.
you're talking about like skill set, you
Yeah.
can't just go out there and magically be good at something, but we didn't talk
No.
about in the beginning of this, like tell us about your skill set. How did you develop that?
Well, so I was actually in the car business. So I started selling at 15 years old. I was selling that I shouldn't have been selling at a very young age. So I've always had to communicate with people. I've always had to, communicate effectively and get my point across. By the time I was 18, I was working at Home Depot, customer service. But where it really came together is when I got in the car business. I got in the car business before real estate, ran 4 dealerships, 60 employees, 25 salespeople, did that for about 7 years, 6 or 7 years. And that's where I really learned the art of selling, or the art of being not convincing, but selling is just unpacking exactly what the person needs, the seller, the buyer. In the car business is the buyer. What are they really looking for and how can I solve their problems? I believe tactic-based selling is trash. The whole like closing is, there's a skill set to closing, but like tactics-based selling, mirror and matching, like all that stuff, it's good, but I believe in information-based selling. The goal is to give your prospect enough information to where they feel comfortable with you and the information to make a decision. Because all we want is a decision. We want a yes, we want a no, we want a not right now. And that means I'm going to do business with you in the future and you're going to go in a follow up. But I don't want to maybe. I want to find out, is it yes, is it no, or is it yes at a later date? So car business is where I learned it all. And then self-development. I hopefully I answered that question well enough for you. Self-development, I trained, I role play. I still role play. When nobody would role play with me, I role played with my wife and my dog.
And so many agents don't want to do that. So many agents are like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable and I'll just practice on my clients," which whatever. It is what it is. So when you go, I love that it's
It is what it is.
informational, like it's information based, like you
Mhm.
said. So when you go, we now have an idea as far as where you're getting leads. When you're going to, I want to dive right into the listing appointments. Like when you're going to those listing appointments, let's talk about the Foursquare.
Yeah. So the listing appointment is a presentation, and I think we lose sight of that as salespeople or as real estate agents. You're going to put on a performance. That performance is fact finding. That performance is getting them to like you. That performance is showing up on time. My listing appointments start in the car, man. I'm listening to music to get me in the best state of mind that I want to be in, or I'm listening to an audiobook that on the drive there. Before I get out of the car, I pray. For me, God's real big in my life, so I pray. And as I go to the door, I knock the door, and I'm enthusiastic. I'm excited. I do try to match their energy, however they are. I don't want to overpower them if my energy is too high. So I am conscious of that. And then I go right. I find the first thing I do is find a spot that we can sit down, because you'll never close anybody standing up. And because we're big in the investment space as well as retail, there's a lot of times where in these hoarder houses, there's not a place. Like, you have to feel comfortable in any environment, and you can't be judgy as you walk into the house. And I think that's a big one. I'll go sit down. I put my bag down, and then I sit down right away. I don't ask it. I'll ask them, like, hey, is it okay if I sit? My goal is to have them sit with me. I want them to sit down with me. And during that thing is, I say the same thing as, hey, listen, I got a ton of stuff I can go over. I have a ton of information for you today, but it would be a waste completely of your time if I didn't know exactly what was important to you. So if there was 3 things you were hoping to get out of this conversation today, what would those 3 things be? And that's how I start. And I write those
Wow.
three things down. And then as I write
Yeah.
those 3 things down, I go,
What if they're like, "Hey, wait, I
do
haven't
you have a
even showed you
question
the
in there
house yet."
before I keep going, or no?
Yeah. What
Yeah,
if they're like,
hey, yeah, that's a great point. You know what? The house is a product, but the truth is, the goal is, I really want to know what's important to you about selling. The house will be sold. It's just, the question is, how do we sell it? So, and then I'll go into, like, why are you moving? I want motivation. My goal in that front 5, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, however it takes long, in good conversation, is I'm building rapport. Don't care about the house. I'm building rapport. I'm having a conversation. I'm finding motivation. And now I have things that I can bring back up in my close later on if I need to. Right. So this is where I'm gathering information.
Thank you for listening. Out of respect for your time, we want to make this show as valuable as possible for you. So if you have any feedback on how we can improve, please let us know. DM us at Allie the Agent and The Shelby Show.
I have a question. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're getting the leads, and now we jump to the appointment. Do you do any like phone consultation pre-screen about any of this stuff beforehand, or is like your goal to set
My
the
goal is the
appointment and
house.
that's sorry?
My
I
goal
missed
is
it.
the house. I want to get to the
Gotcha.
house.
You gotta
Unless
admit.
I'm buying, like, out of state. If I'm out of state, then we have to do it, over the phone. But, I am doing, like, I do fact find a little bit on the phone, but my goal is to get enough information to set the appointment. And then if I go on the appointment, and let's say I know that they're moving out of town, I'd be like, I know you're moving out of town. Remind me where you were going, even if I know, because I want them to talk about going out of town. I want them to visualize themselves there. I want to paint the picture of that. I want them to be excited about all that. And then before I look at the house, I'm like, man, my goal is to get you exactly where you want to go. Do you mind showing me around the property?
Okay, so in what are the normal so you go in the house and you sit
Mhm.
down right away and you start asking them, well, you say I have so much information, but
Yeah.
all of that, what is most important to you?
Yeah.
Do they know, like, what are the normal things they say, and like how long is this whole piece gonna take? I don't know. Can you go a little deeper?
Everybody's different with that, right? Like, my last one, I'm just thinking of my last one. I actually currently listing an agent's house. He's moving out of state. He didn't really do a ton. It was a dude I was mentoring. And when I went in, I just said, you want to move out of state? I totally get it. Besides being able to move out of state, what's important about getting this asset sold? So I talked a little differently, and he was like, dude, money. He was like, money. We got to have the money to go buy where they want to buy. And I'm like, cool. Other than money, what else is important? They said, well, we really need a post possession. Okay. So now I know they need a post possession. Okay. And then I said, besides the post possession money, is there anything else that really matters? And they're like, time frame. Okay. So now I know time, money, and the post possession is the most important things. And I can tailor my presentation around making sure I'm hitting those points. The ones I get all the time is, how much is my house worth? Because we don't know. They do know because they've looked at the neighborhood, but they want to hear from you how much their house is worth. And then it's not even really process as, can they accomplish their goals, right? So my house, typically, how much is it worth? It's typically going to go one way, so they can afford the next thing they want to do or the next place they want to go. That's why it always comes down to money, time, and then simplicity of the transaction, simplicity of getting it done.
Okay. And from there, you've gathered the information, you understand
Mhm.
what's the 3 things that are most important to them. Then what?
Yep. I walk the house. Has anybody ever, like, if you've ever traded in a car, you'll totally get this analogy. Typically, when you trade in a car, they'll do a walk around, and they don't really say anything. They'll just kind of point, or they'll like touch a scratch. And then the person will be like, oh, I hit a shopping cart. Oh, I did this. Oh, and then I'll be like, oh, you see like a tear in the seat. And I'll look at the tear, and I'll like kind of pause, and I'll look at it, and I'll stare at it. And then I'll be like, oh, my kid did that. Oh, my cigarette. Like, they'll divulge all the about the car that's wrong with it, and you don't even really have to talk. So what I don't do is I don't pump up the house because I don't want them to think I think their product is better than it is. Now, if it's an amazing house, I'd be like, you guys have a lovely home. But because they're going to want to attach me to the price, I don't really talk highly, or I'm indifferent about the house. The house is a product for me. But if the house is beat up, I will like let's say I see some water on the baseboard. I'll rub my foot on that baseboard and they'll be like, "Oh, we had a leak." Or if there's like a drywall patch, I'll look at the drywall patch and I'll stare and I'm like, "Well, tell me a little bit about that." And they'll be like, "Oh, the AC leaked. Oh, is there any other AC problems?" Right. And now I'm just going to get as much information as possible, walk the house. During the walk, I'm also looking for things that I can connect with them on a personal level, sports teams, music equipment. Like, what can I in that house bring something and relate it to my life, my kids, anything like that? I'm looking for something that I can relate to and try to have a conversation around that. Right. People love talking about themselves. If you can find what they're passionate about, and you should, because you're in their house, if you get them talking about what they're passionate about, you typically can win them over to like you. Does that make sense? Because the goal is for they want to like you enough to do business with you. And a lot of this stuff I'm talking about is cold. I'm not talking referral appointments. Referral appointments, the come list me's. Everybody on here should know how to take those appointments. That should be easy. I'm talking about you bang the phones, you found a deal, you set an appointment. This is someone you don't know. You're working internet leads. These are cold appointments. I would never do this for a friend and family member, but if I'm on a cold appointment, I got to build rapport. I got to get close to them. I got to get them to like me, because they're not going to do business if they don't. Right. So that's the big goal of all that.
And to me, those were like always the most fun. I actually really preferred when it was like a competition, and I knew that I didn't have it like walking in, but I knew I'd get
Yeah.
it by the time I left. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Dude, the come
thrill.
list fees are nice because of the income, but let's be honest, when you got to work harder for it, it's way more fun.
Dude, totally. And I love that. You've said a lot of like subtle psychology type of like,
Mhm.
steering, having people open up, and like it's all about rapport. And that stuff is my favorite. The psychology and the wordsmithing and asking the right questions to just like, and then you're like, I got you.
Yeah. You're like, I closed your ass. I don't
Yeah.
even like you, but I got you. No, I'm just kidding. I think the place for me is like, it is genuine. I think you got to be genuine with it. Like, I
Oh,
don't
for
want it
sure.
to come off like I'm disingenuine. I'm intrigued by individuals. So I love asking questions and getting to know people. So that
Yeah.
is something that I thoroughly enjoy. So it is genuine, but it is purposeful at the same time.
Yeah. And it's the challenge. It's fun. But
Shelby's
okay.
like, "F those people. I just want the money. I just want the money."
Dude,
Ah.
if anyone knows me, I'm like not driven by money almost to a fault. Like it's
Really? That's good. That's
but
a good problem to have.
anyway, okay, so you're walking down through the house, you're gathering information about anything that might be wrong with the house, but you're having
Yeah.
them open up about it, you're building rapport, and you're done with the house tour. Now what?
Then I go sit back back down. And then I go, is there a number that you open to list your house for? And they'll either give me a number or they're not. And they'll be like, well, I hope you can tell me. Well, perfect. I got to be real honest with you guys. I haven't even looked at your house. And they'll be like, what do you mean? I'm like, I typically don't like to run comps until I'm in the house and I know exactly what I'm working with. So I haven't even looked at it. I tell you what, why don't we look at it together? Bust my computer open. And then I tell them how to comp. I show them how to comp a house. So I go, first thing I do is I go to the tax records. Then from the tax records, I grab the address, I pin it on the screen. Once I pin it on the screen, I'm not going over any major roads. I'm trying to stay in the neighborhood, but if I got to go a little bigger, I want to stay in all the four major corners, four major roads. I don't want to cross any major streets. What I'm looking for is a model match. Model match is beds, baths, square foot, lot size, garage, no garage, pool or pool, no pool. And so I take them through how to comp, and then I'll grab 4 or 5 and I'll go, next step is let's look at condition. And then I have them rate it against it. So I'll grab the highest priced one. Like this one sold at 700,000. Let's look at it together. And I'm like flooring, kitchen, and then I'll pause at the kitchen. I'm like, kitchen, what are your thoughts? Do you think your kitchen is the same? Do you think it's worse, or do you think it's better? And I make them tell me. And they're like, well, I think it's better. And I'm like, well, how much better? 5 grand better, 10 grand better? And they'll be like, 5 grand better. Okay, cool. Bathrooms, do the same thing. Flooring, I kind of do the same thing. Right. And then I'll kind of like, okay, great. And then I'll do that with 3 or 4 of them top, and then that way I'm comping it. I'll have my number in my mind and I'll go, so after looking at the data, what do you think we should list your house for? And they'll tell me a number. They're either going to give me, well, I thought, we'd be 750,000 and they're 50 grand over, or they'll be like, most of the time they're going to look at the data points and be like, I think we're a $700,000 house. You know what, guys? I absolutely agree with you. Good job. You guys could have done this without me, but you didn't. And then I'm like, and then I'll kind of go into, so we're good at the $700,000. Okay, great. And then I'll go to, here's kind of the process. And they'll be like, awesome. So after they say 700,000, I'll say, hey, did you actually know that there's more ways to sell than just one? And they'll be like, well, what do you mean? And I'll be like, well, there's actually 4 ways to liquidate real estate in the state of Arizona. There's really more than 4, but 4 typically what you're going to see. Do you want to go ahead and get it going at the 700,000, or would you like to hear all of them? And they'll be like, well,
we want to hear
all of them.
all. We want to know them all, Matt.
Yep. So then everybody says they want to hear all, right? So now, if I'm going to pause here and give some coaching, because I know where I want them to fall in these 4 squares, right? I know where I want, because if they're a listable house, they're not going to sell to me at 70 cents. You know what I'm saying? So I know that they're going to want to list their home. Now, if their house is beat up, I know that they're not going to want to, they can't get 700. They're going to be at 350, and I got to have to show them why, right? So I typically, on the comp, I know, so based on that comp, I'm going to know where I'm going to be at. So I'll pull out my paper and then I draw 4 squares. And the first one I write in, I say retail. And I say, 98% of the agents you sit down with are going to be talking to retail. Retail is exactly, and I'll kind of break it down what it is. Retail is where you put your house on what's called the MLS. And so multiple listing service, so many buyers can look at it. By doing that, you're going to have showings. We're going to do pictures. You're going to have to keep your house clean. We're going to have a 10-day inspection. We're going to have a 45-day escrow. You're going to have an appraisal. And I just break down everything we're going to do on a retail deal. And I said, right now in this market, you're going to do somewhere between 90 and 160 days. Go ahead.
Question on the piece of paper. So far we haven't talked about anything that you physically brought. And before, so have you given them anything up until this point? Are you taking notes as you're walking through the house? Are you taking pictures?
Not when I'm walking, but I have a blank piece of paper that I write all my notes on, right as at the kitchen table.
Okay, so you have your notes that you're taking notes on, and then now at this point, when we dig into the square method, Jesus Christ,
I draw
method. You take out the next piece of paper and you're drawing the big cross on the paper, and then you're in the front, the retail store. And are you writing these things out for them? You missed showings, pictures, cleanliness, 10-day inspection. You're literally writing it on there.
Writing it all out.
Okay.
And then at the bottom of it, I say this is going to be somewhere between a 90 and 180-day process, and you're going to net 92% at what we sell it for. If we sell your home for 700,000, you're going to net 92% of that. Okay. And then I go, the next most common way is what we call institutional buyers. Institutional buyers, they have what's called a buy box. That buy box is they're looking for a specific property. 1 or 2 plays come in mind. Either they're looking for appreciation or they're looking for cash flow. Typically, what you're going to want to see is a 3-bed, 2-bath, no pool, and I'll kind of list those things. Cool thing about them is they are all cash. But there is an inspection, and typically what I see on that inspection, they're going to want dollar for dollar. So if it's $10,000 to maybe bring your house to the current standard, it's going to cost you 10 grand. There is no appraisal. Transaction will take somewhere between 30 and 45 days, but your home will be sold. So that's the second one. Quick, easy, right? Third one is fix and flip. We got guys that fix and flip, guys just like me. Go ahead, Shelby.
Real quick. Wait, so did you have a percentage on that institute?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm not writing it, so I can't even do it right.
So I'm writing it on the side.
Institutional buyers, you're going to be somewhere 80 to 85% of what the home's currently worth. So that's what I tell them there. Fix and flip guys is going to be easiest transaction you've ever had. It's going to be a 10-day close, all cash, no inspection, no repairs, no appraisal. We can give you a little bit of time to move out if you want. With those solid terms, you're going to be somewhere between 65 and 75% of what's called ARV. Now, do you know what ARV stands for? I'm going to ask them, and they're going to say no. I'm going to say it's after repaired value. The cool thing about ARV is we don't buy off your current house value. We buy off of what we project your house to be worth after we dump a bunch of money into it. Based on what I've seen here is your house is worth $750,000. You're typically going to be somewhere between 65 and 75% of that number. And then the last one, to be honest with you, is what we call a creative finance square. This is typically if you're going to look at turning your house into a cash flowing asset to you. And then as soon as I say that, I ask them, are you looking for a big chunk of money, or are you open to payments long term? And then they will say big chunk of money. Very, very rarely have I said I would take payments long term. We typically know that already on the phone if we're going to do like a seller carry or something like that. So, and then based on that, and depending on where we're at, then I ask them, I say, hey, which one's resonating with you the most right now? 8 times out of 10, they're going to say retail.
Do you do this with so hypothetically, you've done the walkthrough, you've built the rapport, you know them, you know their retail, do you still do this every single time?
Yeah. Every time. Yep.
Because what is the purpose if you're...
It's just my presentation.
By the way, I love it. I think it's like the coolest thing ever.
It's just what I do. Because here's what it's done now. Did anybody else come do this? Unless they're trained by me, they don't do it. Nobody else has done this. People are given options. I will say that, but they haven't seen this presentation unless someone's been trained by me, right? Other people have presentations and people are given options at listing appointments. I know they are. So, but they haven't seen this presentation. So I've solidified myself as an expert in real estate, and they no longer have to go anywhere else. My goal is for them to pick something while I'm there. So I don't want to have to walk away without doc signed. So I'm prepared to take this piece of business any way that I can. So it solidified me as an expert. I gave them so much information. They're probably a little overwhelmed with it, which again shows them that I understand real estate. I understand real estate at a high level, and they probably don't feel like they need to call another person to have them come look. So I've solidified being an advocate for them, someone that they can always come to. Even if I don't close them, they feel comfortable enough to have conversations with me. Does that make sense? That's
totally.
Why I do.
And I feel like I'm totally hot. Allie, this will be my last question, and then I will just shut the up. Even though Allie's like, God damn it, Shelby.
She's like, when the fuck do I get to talk?
You're just like that girl. Okay.
These long-winded. Just kidding. Sorry.
Dude,
I didn't know if I was.
My hand. I'm like, oh my God, pick me.
I know. And I've caught myself point. You just can't see it. I'm over here pointing off screen. Yeah, go ahead. You over there.
Okay. My question is for these offers that you're doing for the institutional buyer or the fix and flip or whatever, like, are you always 100% sure before you offer that? Like, are you the one who's offering the fix and flip? Or, you know what I mean?
No, my people are. So like, I hope to God they've done a good enough job, but we'll write there. I make everybody that's not me write in a 10-day inspection period. So I can get in, look at it, and then move off of it if I need to, or get a walk back. So we still write inspection periods on our wholesale stuff. What we'll say is like no repairs. There's a 10-day inspection period. Let's just make sure our numbers are right. We'll be real honest with what our numbers are. If we can make the deal work at this number, we will. If we can't, we'll be real honest about it. And then if we can't, we'll pivot into something else. So I've taken people out of cash offers and gone to the market with them. I've also pivoted people off of cash offers into innovation. My last one, we was on a listing appointment. I 4-squared them. They really, really didn't want to list. They really, really didn't want my cash offer. I said, I'll tell you what if I guaranteed you X amount? They go, how are you going to do that? I tell you what, this is what we're going to do. I didn't say it's a novation, but I didn't call it a novation to him. I said, I'm going to buy your house. You want a little more for your house than I can pay. So let me do this. Let me guarantee you $320,000. The house is worth like $440,000. We were like $30,000 off on what I wanted to buy it at. I said, give me 60 days. And within the 60 days, I'm going to come in, I'm going to rehab your house a little bit, and then I'm going to sell it for you. And for that, anything above 320, I get to keep. And they were like, really? They're like, yeah. I go, you got to give me the time. I'll come in, I'll rehab it. And then we just did innovation, and now we're in the middle of rehabbing their house, and then we'll sell it, and we'll keep the difference from 425 to 320 or whatever it is. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. And they'll probably put about 15 grand in the house. But you got to be willing to lean the house. So we are willing to, I'm leaning the house just in case.
Damn, you have so many strategies. I love this. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
So how did you, I want to make like a pivot to the team. You have all this knowledge in your head.
Okay.
How are you teaching your team this so they can do the same thing?
So trial by fire. Like, so before when I got to be honest with you, the last 5 months as I've like rebranded and done some, it's all been in the trenches through activity. I just implemented 2 training classes a week. We do 1 training class that's open to the public via Zoom weekly, Wednesdays at 11. If anybody wants to join that, they're more than welcome. But we do, the goal now is to teach it in the classroom, or we do like, I'll take them out on field trips. I typically go on appointments with agents in their first 60 to 90 days, or I bring my acquisitions guy will go on the appointment with them. They have to, in the beginning, I role play with them, and then they got to come and role play the 4 with me before they'll get my leads. So there's things that they have to do to be able to get the leads that I'll put them on. If they don't show me that, then they're just kind of on their own.
Yeah, that's exactly where I want to go to this too. Is like, what other expectations do you have that the team has to do?
So 15 contacts a day, 10 contacts, any buyers or sellers, retail, wholesale. I don't really give a. It's just 10 pieces of people that we're hoping to get new business, and then 5 agent contacts, and 5 agent contacts is all for investment space. Minimum standard, right? So they got to show up to so we role play every day, 9 to 9:30, 2 team trainings a week, 1 team meeting. If you're on an appointment, don't care if you're there or not, because you're out doing business, but the team meeting's mandatory. And then the 15 contacts a day. If you can't do 15 contacts a day, you're probably not really interested in real estate at a high level. I think it's a minimum standard. I give people a hard time for hitting 15. So if you're not at least getting 15 contacts, hopefully getting 2 to 5 nurtures a day, like, you're wasting your time. Just quit the business unless you want to be referral based. And then you just go find what you can get.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. I love this. I love the rawness.
Do you guys have team? You guys have a team, don't you? You have a team, don't you, Ellie, or no?
It's not a formal team. So it's more of like a community within EXP.
Okay.
But is yours a formal team?
Yeah, we're running from the word team.
I have both. So I have a formal team that I'm going to keep small, 12 agents tops, all full time, all dogs. And then I'm in the process of developing a community. I don't have a great community right now. So I just hired someone to help me with that. There's a lot of things I do well, but there's a lot of things I don't do well. So I've learned that about myself. So I got to hire the things I don't do well.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah.
All of us. It's like, oh, cool. Look at these things that we do well. But like all the other that we don't is the one that
On
you don't.
fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
burning the house down.
dude.
Yeah.
So these 15 contacts, do you give them leads, or are they out on their own, like looking for, like, actually in the trenches?
It really depends, right? So yes, I give leads. So right now, heavy seller leads, which are hard to get. I don't mess with a ton of buyer leads. I'm in the process of teaming up with my lender to do some buyer leads stuff, because I do see value in it for some of the newer agents. And then, so the seller leads, yeah, they do get those, and then those are all paid for. And then I have a database. So I think I've pulled from, driving for dollars, door knocking. I have about 10,000 numbers in Atlanta. And then I have probably 15,000 phone numbers here in Phoenix, just from the last 4 or 5 years of people that have raised their hand and not raised their hand. So I have those old leads that they can cold call.
So
and then I'll buy lists.
Totally. So the 9 that you have now, are they all like the more traditional team setup?
I don't know what you mean by that.
I mean, like, so when I think of traditional team, I think of generally higher splits, more overhead.
Yeah, if you're on the team, I crack. Yeah. Yeah, if you're on the team, we're 50-50. If you take one of my leads, we're 60-40. They're 50-50 for the first 10 deals. After 10 deals, they're 70-30. So
very cool.
Any lead I give you, I crack. They are all local. I'm looking for a Georgia person if you know someone.
In Atlanta specifically?
Yeah, just someone that can kind of travel throughout that area. Yeah.
I might know someone actually.
Yeah. I'd love to have someone in, we just did an ovation out in Atlanta, and it was a show. It was bad. It was so bad.
Really?
The agent we found was part-time, and she was good. She did a good job. I don't want to talk on her, but she was part-time, so I could only talk to her like certain hours of the day. I'm like, oh, that's not working for me. I might be too controlling though. That might be my problem, not hers.
You're the problem. It's you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's really not.
I'm sure
I
it
just
is. I'm sure
I just had to quote Taylor Swift.
Come on, you guys got to be like that a little bit. Like when you want something, you want to now. I'm not the only one here, okay? I'm not the only one here.
We're perfect in every way.
Well, I'm just so glad to be in your guys' presence. Then.
You should
It'll
be.
make me better. It'll make me better. It'll make me better.
Dude,
That's
kidding.
funny.
Okay, question about,
That's
are
funny.
you, so you're mentioning that you have the database, and are
Mhm.
you using, what database do you use, and do you oversee, like, all of the people on the team use the same database so you can see what they're
Yeah, I
doing?
use Follow Up Boss, and then I use a plugin for my automation called Call Tools. No, I lied. That's our dialer. It's called Call Action, and it's a plugin through Follow Up Boss, and that's all of our automation. Our 10 days of pain, I would put up against, like, we get 80% contact rate. It's either F you, don't call me again, I'll kill your family, or it's like, yeah, we want to talk, or yeah, we set an appointment. Like, but I get something out of them in the first 10 days. We're probably 50 contacts in the first 10 days, 50 touches. And then after that, they go to a long-term follow-up for a year through automation. And that's ringless voicemail drops, that's video messages, that's gifts, that's text messages, emails for the next year until someone says yes or no to me. So that's probably where we're the best at, is our follow-up. And that's it. And then my acquisitions guys, probably 4 or 5 hours a day on follow-up. So we
You
crush
said
it. We crush our leads.
50 contacts in the
Yeah.
first 10 days. Oh, damn. I thought 7
Probably.
days in a row was
Yeah.
bad. Good for you. Okay, what are you doing in these 50?
Dude, we do back-to-back calls. So we'll do, lead comes in, we call, they don't answer, we call. Boom, boom. So that double touch right away is so good. So if you're not doing that on cold leads, I would tell everybody to do it. That just back to back. And then if they don't get a hold of them that second call, they're calling a third time that day. So we got 3 calls. And then we got 3 text messages that first day. It's huge. And then we got 12 emails. So 1 email a day. No, 10 emails the first 10 days. And then it's ringless voicemails, video messages, 2 calls a day until someone answers us.
Do you
You're
do
not
any?
intense at all.
It's probably 45.
I love that. Damn.
Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I find that a lot of agents feel, especially in the beginning, they feel bad. They're like, oh, I don't want to bother them. I'm like, yeah, but they raise their hand, like
Fuck
they're like,
that.
call them back, send them a video,
Yeah.
man, go to their house, So you also mentioned buying lists.
Dude, we door knock.
So
We door knock. If we don't get a hold of someone and I paid $500 for that lead, my acquisitions guy 1 day a week goes out to the field and hits those doors.
Yo, real quick, this podcast is not free. Cost of admission is sharing with a buddy who'd benefit or throwing it on your Instagram story. Tag us, we'll reshare that shit.
nice. Yeah. What actually?
We're
befo-
no joke.
Before I want to go into the buying list, what are you saying in the first couple of phone calls? What's the script? What's your opening line?
Well, those are all leads, right? So that code is
Mhm.
super easy. It looks like you put a little bit of information online about potentially getting a cash offer or selling your home at 123 Main Street. Tell me a little bit about why you reached out. Okay, cool. Why are you selling? Okay, great. How soon are you looking to do something? Just kind of go down the framework, gather motivation. And then I go in, well, and then I kind of go into after motivation. So I believe in that you find motivation, you go 3 questions deep. Once you find motivation, then you set with motivation. So, let's say they're trying to go out of town. They want, or they're moving. Let's say they're moving up north. Why are they moving up north? They want land. Why do they want land? They want animals. Why do they want animals? Because they've always dreamed about it as a kid. And then how I would set that is, hey, listen, I'm not sure if I can make it a reality or not, but here's what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to do a little bit of work to figure out if I can make your lifelong dream as a kid to get some animals on that land that you want. I'm going to be in your area tomorrow at 5. How about I swing back? How about I swing by then and we can dive deeper and if we can make a dream a reality? That's how I try to set.
I love this. Okay.
So-
You also buy lists. Where are you buying these lists from for agents that are
Yeah.
not on a team and want to buy lists on their own? And also, do you use title companies for lists?
Yeah, so Security Title, Dina Sell, shout out to her because she's flipping amazing here in Arizona. She's been really, really good. They're Jeremy Eaton over there has been really good to get me some lists. They're kind of like more neighborhood search stuff. Like if I want to pound a neighborhood that I'm flipping in, if I want to do something like that, I'll use batch leads for the other lists that I pull. And, that's going to be specific to what I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a single female over 50 and a 50% equity position, or pre-foreclosures
To
or,
date or what?
so I'm looking. Yeah.
Dude, that's what I heard too.
Is that
Is that a single
I should have done
female
that.
over 50?
No, we just know our clientele are single females over 55 and a 50% equity position.
Dude, I literally did not go that way at all. I was like, oh, we're okay.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. That's funny. The way I said it sounded like that. I got to change how I phrase that.
The title of this episode is going to be using title for tits.
Yeah. That's good. It should be. It should absolutely be the name of that. So we'll use title, we'll use badge just to get off the subject here to make me uncomfortable. Just kidding. So it would be those that we get at most of. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars skip tracing. None of that matters unless you got a savage willing to make the call. Because cold calling is hard. It's a hard thing. It's going to take you 30 to 90 days just to get a skill set good enough to even maybe set an appointment. And then you're going to have to call that list 5, 6, 7 times until your contact rate's absolutely trash, right? Because you're at 10, 11 cents a pull. So like you go spend $1,000 on a bunch of names and numbers, you got to exhaust that list. And sometimes the data sucks. Sometimes the data is great. I've never, everybody, the data is what the data is, so some of it's 70% hit rate. Some of it's 60% hit rate. Some of the titles gets like 20% hit rate. But guess what? Someone had to make all those calls to figure out that list was, and you just got to do what you got to do.
Dude, that's my question. My next question is like, so you have these leads in the list and the database and all that stuff, but you still have an acquisitions guy and plus the 9 agents on your team. So is it like the agents and their 10 contacts, but you're like, you have a professional, what is your, I don't know, talk about your acquisitions guy.
Oh, he's a stud, dude. He's a beast. So his name is Emilio. Has been with me for probably 2.5 years. He was on another team when I met him, real good friend of mine. And I wanted him so bad, but I knew I couldn't poach him because it would just be the wrong thing to do. You just don't steal good agents from friends of yours. Like it's jacked up, right? So he ended up leaving his team and went out on his own, and he came. And then he had a bad experience with the people he partnered with. So he came back and the dude just works his face off. Young cat, 26 years old, I think. He's just got engaged. He's just a savage, man. He'll cold call all day, but he doesn't have to because of the leads. So I put him on. So I was taking all of our internet leads, our PPC leads that I spent about $500 a lead on. I was on all those because I didn't want to waste those opportunities. And then I gave him a shot. And when I gave him the opportunity, it's like he was just all about it. And that kid works his ass off. Like he grinds. He's always 5 minutes or less on the lead. And we're talking, he's been doing it for 1.5 years, 2 years now for me. Like he's still 5 minutes or less. Doesn't get tired of it. He's going to have the best year he's ever had financially. He's just a dog. He'll knock the door. He'll chase it down. He's got his skill set on closing has gotten so much better. He's just done a really, really good job. He'll pivot in the middle and make it a listing. He'll get listings on acquisition appointments. He'll get cash buys on listing appointments. It's like the perfect scenario when you finally get the one beast, that one dog that listens to you and that you trained well. And you're like, yes, why can't I get 10 of these? Because I'd take over the world. Give me 3 of them. And we would crush life. Everybody else would be, because we would take every bit of the business out there.
Dude,
that's how I feel
love
about
that.
him.
Dude, so much. Having you on this podcast, let's get him on this podcast.
He's good, dude. He's good. Dude, it's funny though. He's like, so one time we do a lead review and his notes were trash. And I talked so much to him. It has never been trash since. One time. It's just that dude. You correct one thing one time and he's just locked. He's a good dude.
I love him. Question though, you call him your acquisitions guy, but it sounds like he's also an agent. So is he one of the 9?
He is one of the 9.
Okay, gotcha. Does he also does he have like a salary for being the acquisitions guy, or are you just calling him that because he's your stud?
20%. Because he's the only one that gets those leads. I spend $25,000 a month and he gets 100% of those leads.
That's
So
crazy.
he's cash focused. He's my investor focused dude. So, but he will get listings out of those leads, right? The rest of them get like $20 leads, not $500 leads.
Okay, you've already mentioned a couple of websites and like systems that you use. What other tools or systems do you use in your business?
So we have Call Tools, which is our dialer. Follow Up Boss also has a dialer. I use CTE to track job form. Like we're bare bones, dude. I'm not a believer in overcomplicating, man. You know, so like I'm trying to think what else we have. Like it's not, dude, that's probably about it. Call Tools, Batch, Follow Up Boss. We do everything out of Follow Up Boss. Call Action has been a game changer. Call Action and Follow Up Boss, I would be the two that have probably been the most successful driving revenue. So I think if there's a takeaway, I would look at something that drives revenue, not just another expense. I feel like the tool question is always like someone says something and becomes a new gimmick, right? So then someone that doesn't have any money, they go buy this tool thing that's going to solve their problem. Well, you know what's going to solve your problem is get on the phone, find a deal. That's going to solve your problem. Go put activity in the world. The tools don't really matter, I don't think. I really don't. You know, you could do this on an Excel sheet if you're brand new. I think a CRM is the number one thing. And then automation, is the next one, just so you have a little bit of time. Because if you were to run what I'm running, you would have zero time every day. So like some automation around your CRM and then your 5 lead gen levers. And then if you really want to spend some money, a good dialer if you're calling. But if you're not a caller, which a lot of people aren't, like I talk a lot about calling because that's what we do a lot, but a lot of people aren't callers. So whatever you're doing, maybe find a tool that can help you do that at a faster speed.
Yeah. And you mentioned,
sorry, I wish I had more tools for you guys.
Oh no, this is perfect. Cause some people are like, hey, my Google calendar, that's it. You know, I'm like, yeah. So every person is so different and they can make it work. So I like that it's lean. But as far as budget goes or like leverage or monthly expenses, what does overhead look like?
Yeah. So overhead running my team, we're right around $4,000. That's not including lead gen. So lead gen for my PPC and the acquisition side, we are 13,000 in Phoenix. We're 6,000 in Georgia. We're looking at picking up Texas, which will be another 6,000. So we're right around 20,000 a month, 25,000 a month. It kind of fluctuates depending on how well the website's doing. Last month, I spent probably 30 grand on leads. So, cause the website was doing really, really well. So we wanted to keep that traffic going. So been doing PPC for a little over, probably close to 2 years now. And that's been really successful for us, but low. We ran it to me. And here's what I know. Here's what I know for a fact. 45 agents running at $45,000 a month is not a successful business. You can generate $700,000 in top line revenue and keep 50 because you're servicing a bunch of people that aren't doing it. Like we did 250 units one year and I think I made $50,000 off that. Like it's not worth it. It's all ego. It's all ego. Like it was great that we got notoriety for selling a ton of real estate, selling 80 million in real estate, and it's all ego. It didn't correlate to in my pocket. It's a trash ass business model. And I could have ran it so much more effective and bigger. And I could do 300 units with less money. You know, sometimes you do because you think it's going to help you grow and it doesn't do for you. Just lighting $100, $1,000 bills on fire. You can tell I'm passionate about it.
What's your website? And what is like I don't know. I want to talk a little bit about the website and this PPC.
For PPC? So the company, dude, I don't want everybody to go hit it. It costs me leads. It costs me money.
Hey, then you don't got to share
ad.
Fine.
Yeah,
don't share.
So no, I'm just kidding. So I have a company here. Here's what I'll tell you. This guy, his name is Greg Bilbro. He's all cash. Okay. So it's all acquisitions, cash based. So if you're interested in this, let me know and I'll reach out. I'll get you contact. And I'll connect you. His name's Greg Bilbro. He runs a company called Geoflip. That is a website you can absolutely go to. What he does is he has one website that he pours all the money into. That website's called Fair Property Buyers. So every one of his 15 clients that's spending $10,000, $12,000 a month goes into this one website And depending on the geography of wherever that lead's coming from, it gets pushed to that client. So it's like spending $500,000 a month on Google on one website. So it's way better than what I could do on my own. Does that make sense? Because I would only be spending 10 grand a month. So we can compete with the leads because we've pretty much pooled our money. So it's been a learning curve. She's done really well for us. Some months are good, and it's been really, really good. But overall, I get about a 3x on my money. So if I spend 100, I make 300. If I spend $1 million, I make 3 million. So it's been pretty good so far. But here's what I like about him, and this is why I'll tell people about him, is that he only does one person per geo. So I'm his Arizona client. Nobody else could get Maricopa County in Arizona. They could get Tucson, but they couldn't get Maricopa County, which I really like that, the exclusiveness. The other one I'm using is ZBuyer. ZBuyer's been pretty good for us. I don't know what states they're in, but ZBuyer's been decent. We've picked up mostly listings. Most of their leads are converting to listing, not cash offer, but they all requested for a cash offer, which is kind of like the new play online now, is everybody asks for a cash offer, but they really want to list their house to get all the money. So that's been decent for us as well. I got a buddy that's crushing buyer leads with PPC right now. So, and he just uses Sync.
Okay, dope. Dude, so much information, super helpful. And I got to tell you, I resonate so hard with the mini rant you went on about teams and how, less is more and the ego and all of that. Like, dude, that is hardcore what I went through, and shut that down, because you're totally right. When you start to think about it and reflect and like look at the financials, you're just like, this is not worth it.
Yeah. Here's what I do know though, is I need people around me. So the small team is good for me because I perform like I'm not that typical, like if I have an opportunity to off, I will, right? So I know people counting on me is super important because I won't let other people down. Like, and I think you have to know yourself enough. So having agents blowing me up and calling me, it makes me better. Like having people around me makes me better,
Dude,
so
I'm gonna call
I
you
do enjoy this.
every day. I'm going to call you.
Let's
I'm
go. Let's go.
No.
I fucking love it.
Dude, okay, for real though, like we get your journey a little idea where you are now. So like, what does the future look like? Next 12 months or 3 years or whatever is foggy out there, where you headed?
You know what? Like, oh God, this is a good question. I don't even like the business is on a trajectory that I think we'll do. Like my goal is to be at 7 million in the next 5 years, 7 million a year. Okay. And I think we can do that with the systems that we have as we open new markets. So I'm pretty confident in that. But like the big daunting task for me, like right now that I'm looking at in the next 12 months is physical fitness. Like that's the journey I'm on. I really want to get super healthy. I want to drop 100 pounds. I want to feel amazing. So like, and the reason I answer that, the reason I'm answering the question like this is because I think, you can't accomplish anything in your business life if your personal life is. And I've come from nothing. I've come from abusive parents and, selling drugs and doing the wrong way my entire life. And I've been through all that. I know what it's like to not be loved. I know what it's like to not want to exist. And I know, so all that stuff is like, as we grow as an individual, it gives us the opportunity to grow our life and our business. So I believe if I can become the best version of myself, and I've changed pretty much every aspect of my life, whether it be spiritually, emotionally, better spouse, better father, better human being, like accountable, not giving, like actually caring about others. Like I've changed so much. The one thing that I have left is to be 265 pounds and feel amazing. Right. So that's kind of the journey that I'm on right now, is like, just really dial in the physical fitness. Cause I think that's going to make me unstoppable. Cause I already feel unstoppable. I already have energy. I'm already excited. I'm already pumped up. Me at 265 is going to be devastatingly scary as. So that's kind of what I'm most excited about, because I know the business that it will bring. That new version of me will demand more out of others. It'll demand more out of the universe. I have this thing, like, this is crazy. Like we all pray, and I don't know if you guys are spiritual. I don't know, whoever's listening, maybe not. But as I'm praying, My coach, I talk about this all the time. And he goes, as we pray to God for more, I hope there's times God is like, I want more out of you. I hope there's times like, hey, I need a on the ground right now and you're it. And I'm excited to send this to you because I know you're going to handle it. I just don't want to end at the end of the day and be like, you didn't accomplish what you were supposed to, bro. Like you sit there with God and he's like, dog, I had so much more for you in life, but you didn't get it done because you weren't who you needed to be to get it done. So we got to constantly evolve. So just evolution of getting somewhere that I know I need to be. It's a long-winded answer, but hopefully you got it.
I love that. When did you become so into self-reflection? Like, was there a specific moment in your life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I started self-development. So I started selling drugs at 15. My mom blamed me for my dad leaving, so she hated me. My stepdad was a biker. He's a mean, and I never thought I was worth anything. And then I kind of got on my own. I started working. I moved out at 17. I just started working. And then like 27, I had already had 2 kids. It's kind of when it all changed around 27 years old, where I was like, dude, I got to just do better. Like I've always been a workhorse because I figured I had to work to provide. Like I've always been able to survive and work. Started reading when I was 22. So 22 from 22 to 27, I was reading self-development. I knew I needed to work on myself. I knew I needed to get better. I didn't have anybody to turn to. I've never had a father figure. I've never had anybody that I could go, like turn to and talk to. I've done thousands and thousands of hours of counseling. So it was like it all like hit me at like 27 years old where I was like, dude, I gotta go, man. But I've always been very introspective. So like probably I would say, I'm trying to answer this question, but it's hard. I've been working on myself forever because I wanted to be something. I know that I was put here for a reason. And I know that that reason is big, but I had so much damage as a child that I didn't love myself. So I had to learn to love myself. And that probably happened in my early 20s. That's probably the best way to answer that question. Is I really started to enjoy the person I was probably around 24, 25.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And I knew it was
I
okay
thi-
to be different. And I knew it was okay to be
yeah.
different. Sorry, I just cut you off. But you told me
No,
not to
you're
do. You told me not to do
you,
that too.
no, that's totally fine. I feel like at the end of our podcast, we usually ask if there are any parting words of, wisdom for the audience. And I feel like you have answered that already. But is there anything else that you want to share to agents that might be struggling right now, that business is, their business is low?
Apple listeners, this short pause is to ask you for a review. Here's how to do it. Back out of the specific episode, go to the page where you see all the episodes, scroll down, keep scrolling. Perfect. Now tap those 5 stars. Thank you so much. Back to the show.
Yeah, I think, I rebranded to Active. Active Real Estate is the name of our company. And I think activity is so important because activity breeds results. Activity gives energy. If you ever want to not feel like a piece of shit, get up and move. You don't just sit there anymore. You got to get up, you got to move, you got to do something. Business is no different. I don't care what business you're in. Real estate is no different. If you don't want to feel like you're failing, if you don't want to feel like you're up, if you don't want to feel like you're not good enough, then go get into activity and be purposeful about the activity. You want to feel really good about yourself one day, get up and go knock 100 doors. You want to feel even better, get up and make 100 phone calls. You want to feel even better, call 50 people that you know. There's no way by doing that activity, regardless of the result, and do it unattached to the outcome. Do it unattached, like, did I make money? Did I not make money? Celebrate the fact that you weren't a piece of shit and you got up and you went and you did something, because that's all you need. You just got to get up and go do something. You got to move. You got to do the activity. And sooner or later, you're going to do the activity long enough that you're going to get good enough at it. And once you're good enough at it, you're going to start converting. And when you start converting, then you're going to start making money. And then when you start making money, you're going to realize the sky's the limit. When I made my first 100 grand, I was in the car business and it did nothing. Like the 100 grand was worthless. It did trash. The one thing it did do is it taught me that I was now worth that. It was my new minimum standard. A lot of us have a mentality of minimum standards that we've been working for people so long that they've told us what we're worth. You're worth 30 grand a year. You're worth 50 grand a year. You're worth 75 grand a year. Here's the truth. And here's the truth. You're worth whatever you can go create, Whatever you can go do in this world, you're worth it. Is that 100 grand? Is that 250 grand? Is that $1 million? Is that 5 million? Is that $1 billion? Who the knows? Only you do. It just depends if you're willing to do the activities and get the information so you can go create it. I'm not talking about your worth as a human being. God gives you that when you're born. You're worth something just for being born. I'm talking about what you're going to get out of this world while you're on it. And the only thing you're going to get out of this world on is what you can go earn, what you can go create, who you can be in relationship with. So if you really want to change your world, go get active, get in the activity, give 100% of it, be obsessed, and crush life and do some dope.
You pump me up, dude. I really do like you as much as I give you shit.
Oh, I didn't know we were still questioning if you liked me. I thought we were good. Now I'm wondering.
Dude, we are good. I've actually, so I like you so much. I want to know, what events are you going to this year so we can hang out in person? You better be going to Rockstars this year.
Yeah, I'll go. I don't know.
Dude, really?
I haven't even
Is this a
decided.
commitment?
Yeah. When is it?
It's March 6th or 8th of 2024 in Austin.
Yeah, I'd go. I'll go to that.
Fuck yeah, we're hanging out.
Yeah.
Actually, we're gonna be bunk beats. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Actually, you're like,
That's
no,
scary.
we're drawing lines.
Yeah.
Dude, it's funny. It's like a fancy ass hotel, and like I'm just gonna push bunk beds together, and we're like all gonna be like
you're gonna put every one of us in the same room.
Dude, exactly.
Allie, did you go? Allie, you do a ton of investing, don't you? Or no? Am I reading your socials wrong?
I wouldn't say a ton. I'm actually stopping putting investing stuff out there because I don't really work with investors. So I'm keeping more investing stuff like behind the scenes. Yeah. So, but yeah, I invest in residential. Mainly it's just move in, owner occupied, move out, rent it out. Slow but steady.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually,
cool.
I don't know if you've heard of the shred method, but I actually just paid off a property yesterday. It feels so good. I'm not like one of those to just refi till you die. I want to pay my off. So yeah, I'm excited.
They just have the cash flow.
Yes.
Every one of our retail rentals suck. Like I got 4 right now and I hate it. I hate them. I don't know.
Dude, Arizona's been getting hard,
I like
man.
big money. I don't know why. Arizona's trash, dude. We do so. Are we still recording? I don't know if are we still podcasting?
Dude, it's
okay. Dude, we do so much better out of state. Like we do so much better. Our Arizona deals move really fast because we know the market so well, and we'll flip here and we know it so well. But like our North Carolina stuff has been really good. Our South Carolina stuff has been really good. It's just, they're not big rips. Like here in Arizona, we're ripping stuff at like 60, 50, 85 just for wholesales. But like out there, like we're doing 10s and 15s. We're just doing more of them, which I like the turns, right? So the money's probably better here in Arizona. But like the competition here is just like we get beat out on a deal over $3,000. That doesn't happen to me in other areas. I love it.
Damn. Yeah. And now, so you're looking for assistance. You know, if somebody in Atlanta wants to join your team, I want you to have your plug here. Like, what website can they go to learn more about you? How can people help you in the business? You know, since you're expanding. Like name out the cities of where you're trying to grow so people can reach out to you.
So mattchick.com is my website. There's a link on there that you can just hit up and you can get some time. Super interested. I've launched some coaching stuff. So I'm looking on taking some coaching clients. If anybody's actually looking to get coached, if you're looking for a team, would love to talk. I'm looking for kind of like South Carolina, North Carolina, Atlanta, Texas, and then Vegas are kind of the ones that I've identified, maybe Florida, but those other ones are super serious. Looking for 2 more agents here in Phoenix. If anybody's looking, I'd like to find 2 agents that really, really want to work the retail business so I can spend some money on leads there, but I only want 2 working the leads. But my socials, I am Matt Chick, Facebook, Matt Chick. Feel free to connect. If you guys ever need anything, I'm here. I love this. I love people. So I'm all about any help I can give you guys. I'm all about it.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much for coming on today. And I know for sure that you do answer your Instagram messages because there were like a couple of deals here in Tucson where we couldn't really sell at retail. So I was like, hey, let me hit up Matt Chick. And like right away, you're like, dude, what's the address? Send it. Let's talk. So I'm sure that people
Yeah,
outside
yeah.
of this area too, in all the areas that you mentioned, can also reach out to you. You do respond.
Anywhere in the nation, we'll try to dispo. Anywhere in the nation. You got a deal in the nation. Let me look at it. I'll try to do whatever I can. Sorry, I
Yeah.
cut you off again. I cut you off. I didn't
No,
want you to
totally
close it out
good.
too soon.
Dude, this is your show, Matt. We're just here.
You're like, Matt, shut the up. It's over. We're out of here.
And if you want to hit us up on Instagram, we also do respond. We're Allie the Agent, spelled ALI, and The Shelby Show with 2 underscores. So hit us up. Matt Chick, thank you so much for coming on the show. And for listeners, be a bro and share this show. Bye.
You guys are amazing. Thanks for having me. Later.
Thanks so much for listening, dude. If you want the golden nugget that this guest provided, see the show notes or just go straight to theagentgoldmine.com. That's where we keep all our resources for you. Till next time.